Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about two of my most embarrassing overdosing stories. The first one involved something I still use to this day, which was boner pills. So basically, I'm trying to remember. I think I was physically strung out at the time. I was on parole, and I had to drug test in a couple days. So I was not consuming my actual drug of choice. But the dude who was scoring for me, because I was on tether, I could only leave until like noon every day. So I had somebody that would go out at night. They'd drive out all the way out, collect the money from me, then go to score. It was like seriously like a 5 hour process every night. And dude never ripped me off. Billy, shout out Billy, solid dude. And he was a full blown addict and still always came through. Anyways, he got me some methadones. So I remember it was, late at night, and the next day I had planned that my now ex-girlfriend, was going to meet me at my mom's house, and we were going to, sleep together. This was, new in the relationship, honeymoon period, still real exciting. And keep in mind, I had just done 2 years in prison, so this was a big deal for me. I can't get down like that at my grandparents' house where I was living at the time. So I made the plans to meet her at mom's. So anyways, I end up getting a hold of those pills, and I eat some and pass out. And I wake up and my phone's been going off, and I slept through it. And it was like 10:45. And one of the first things I do is like reach. I can't find the pills. I'm panicking. I remember I reached into like the crevices of the couch and like pulled them out like a miner digging for gold. Hit pay dirt. So I take more, and I realize like I'm like almost completely out of time. It was ridiculous that I even tried to do this. So I remember I took more methadone, right? And then I get over to my mom's house, and at this point there's like no action on my piece. I'm just too intoxicated. But I remember I was still like coherent. Like nobody was calling me out or thinking, I was on a good one, but I wasn't totally out of it. So anyways, we get to my mom's house in the bedroom, and at this point, I think like I only had like 30 minutes, 20 minutes until we had to turn around and leave. So I pull out, I can't remember if it was Cialis or Viagra, but I had one of them. I pull it out and I break it in half and I crush it down and, hoot it. And I remember, my ex is like, what the, I mean, don't worry about it. So anyways, the last thing I remember is, kind of starting to get it on and then all black. And I came out of it, my ears ringing. Every time when you overdose really bad, every time I at least come out of it, my ears are ringing. So let me fill you in on what happened. So I guess, we got at it, and I got on top of her and totally fell out. They say not to, combine those boner pills with real drugs. And I guess there's a reason. So I passed out totally on top of her, and she could not get me off. And this is, a heftier woman, pretty strong. So she had to call my mom. She had to yell for my mom to come and like peel me off, big old, not big, but, boner sticking out because of the pill. And like, they're freaking out because I'm not responding. And like, God bless my ex. She did put like a pair of boxers kind of on over me, but it's like, whatever. So anyways, they're freaking out. And I think it was like the neighbor was a nurse or something. And nurses, they're always, real self-righteous. So I actually started responding. And, my ex, like I said, God bless her, she understood my situation, being on parole and being on tether, that if 911 finds out, this isn't going to be good. And, she's saying like, no, he's coming around. Give him a second. Don't call 911. Well, that freaking bitch neighbor ends up calling 911. And of course, the police always come with the EMTs. And I think in that case, the EMTs might have reported it. I think they saw my tether and like called the police themselves. It's kind of screwed up. I remember too, like they found the other half of the Viagra or Cialis or whatever, and they started like making jokes. They were like, "Oh, at least you would have died happy." It was kind of messed up. You know what I mean? And what's even more messed up is I ended up doing like 115 days over that whole shenanigans. Yeah, that sucked. I ended up going to the hospital, and the parole officer found out. Yeah, that funny thing, that parole officer who violated me, little small town gossip, I think, from what I understand, dude like straight up AWOL'd from the job, like just stopped showing up to work at the parole office. there's been rumors that dude was an alcoholic for years, but I never, people say that stuff about everybody, so I never, but I guess, I don't know. It's just something to chew on. My second story, let's get into it. This second one, man, I don't know how cool YouTube is going to be with this one. So back in the day, there was something that was really popular. It was called MXE. And it was like one of those things, it was like an analog or a research chemical. It was like one of those ones you could order with like a credit card, and it was legal. And I was really into those for a while. And I can make a whole video on those, on those type of chemicals. But that's not what this is about. So anyways, I had to go into jail, I remember, for some sort of violation, which is rare that I knew I had to turn myself in. Usually I get blindsided by it. So I knew I had to turn myself in, and it was like night. I remember that. So I had a bunch of that MXE and my Suboxone prescription. And I remember I went to the bathroom to, do some, and it actually, my rig broke, my point broke, and I couldn't do it that way. I actually had to put the solution into my nose. So you would think it would have actually had less effect than intended, but I don't know, for whatever reason. And I had been doing this stuff heavy for weeks. I'm talking about like serious abuse, mainline abuse. But man, for whatever reason, that when I put it up my nose, totally knocked me out. And to the point where like I was, sometimes on that stuff, you're so out of it, you can't react, but you still know that something was going on. This totally put me under, like full on blackout. And when I came into it, I was in the hospital, but I didn't know I was in the hospital. I was really confused, and I for some reason, I thought I was in like an institutional setting. And for some reason, I thought there was like a chance I could escape. I don't know. But I remember I started freaking out because I was strapped in. I woke up and I was strapped in. I started freaking out, and somebody came over and undid my straps, but then left. This must have been what happened. So suddenly I'm like, my straps are undone, but there's IVs, everything coming in and out of me. So I start, planning my escape, So I, just go for it, basically. And I start ripping IVs. I get an IV out of each arm. There's like other, there's just stuff all over me, popping right off. And I go to get up, and there's one last thing. And it's a tube going right into my crotch. And I tug on it. And let me tell you, it's in there snug. Tug on it again. It don't budge. And this is, I start to I'm looking for like a pair of scissors, but I'm still so confused. I can't really comprehend what's going on. And I'm just tugging. And I realize this is the one thing stopping me from escaping. So I just yank on it, and I'm good. I'm good to go. So I hop out of the bed, and I take off down the hallway, and I'm making my way downtown. And I don't feel anything. What I saw first is I looked down, and I saw that there was just like blood dripping, like not like a full-on faucet, but not just a couple drips, like it's coming out in a little stream. And immediately, like, I didn't completely sober up, but I like snapped into reality, and like I remember like I realized I was in a hospital, and instead of trying to escape, I like immediately deferred back to their medical advice, and like was like, and like then my mom was there too, which, oh my God, I don't know how she got there, but that was embarrassing. So finally, when they call me down, and I can't imagine what that looked like, they tell me that, they tell me what a catheter is and how they're designed and how they have to, a doctor has to take them out. But I guess this is like a fairly common thing for old people. So it wasn't the worst. So, I mean, at least they had a solution. So get this. So I tore my urethra, because if you know anything about a catheter, it's basically it's a tube with a ball at the end. So I had to pop it out, and I'm not going to do the visual. You can understand. I tore my urethra. So in order for the urethra to not like heal closed in on itself, you have to put another catheter in and leave it while the urethra heals. So I had to put another catheter into my torn urethra, and it had to stay there while it healed for like it was horrible. I'm telling you, horrible. Thank God I ended up getting it out right before I had to turn myself into jail. I don't even want it. This goes past funny into just disgusting, but yeah, it was one of the worst experiences in my life. I don't even, yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google catheter, and then if you're like a woman and don't know, Google urethra, and put two and two together. So anyways, I have plenty more overdosing stories, but those are my two best. I'm going to save some more. I have some pretty scary ones more so. Those are kind of the more comedic ones. I'm going to put those in some other videos. Like I said, I'm trying to do a video every day. Thank you so much for watching this. Please be sure to check out my Twitter, StraightFelon. Be sure to check out my website, straightfelon.com. I have a book available, at least like the rough draft rather. Hit me up. Let me know what you want, what kind of videos you're looking to see, what you like, what you don't like. And like always, I appreciate you. Thank you.